Okay, we're here. Good morning, everyone. We have arrived at day 3 of our winter wellness event, and we have beautiful Rana here with us this morning. We are going to be diving in with Easy Air, our beautiful respiratory blend. And we thank you, Rana, for spending this morning with us to give your insight on this amazing blend. And if you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself for those that don't know you, and we'll go from there.
Thanks for having me. I was looking forward to speaking about one of our awesome blends, Easy Air. And for those of you who don't know me, I have 4 amazing, beautiful daughters, pregnant at the moment. So anything simple in my life is welcome. So that's where doTERRA jumps in, and the rest is history because it just simplifies my life, my very busy life. So regarding the oils, they're my first line of support in my home, and it tends to be the only line, unless we have some broken bones and stuff that needs stitches. But other than that, we've been doing so well with the oils in our home, and I wouldn't live without them any other way.
Yeah. And how long has it been for you now that you've had
I think, you know what, I was thinking about that the other day. I think we're going on about 4.5 years.
Yeah.
So they're around. They're not going anywhere. They're
and
definitely.
It's a long time to, and that's like for us, it's for our family, it's been 7 years, and I imagine that, well, I know for a fact that for the rest of our lives, our children, all of your girls, all of my boys, it's just all they know as their first point of call for anything in home and sickness and illness. And if they have that support and they choose to seek further medical assistance, it's because they've at least tried something in their own home first, which is one of the things I just love. But you articulate it really well around your family and your girls, because they all are very busy and they all have their I don't even know how you keep up sometimes when I hear about the things that your family does. But knowing that oils have really simplified things. A lot of people talk about how oils seem complicated and seem overwhelming, and not enough people talk about the fact that it actually simplifies your life if you let it. So with regards to Easy Air specifically, how do you find that oil has infiltrated your home in a positive way, but also how do you use it, and how has it really simplified those seasons for you?
Awesome. So coming into winter right now for us, Easy Air is a must have. Like, I have a couple of bottles always in line. So 2 of my girls, my second eldest and my youngest, tend to get croup as one of their symptoms when their respiratory system is in distress. For whatever the reason, it just happens. And I just recall when one of my eldest daughter being about maybe 3, when we had to take her to hospital, and her airways were very restricted, and we actually needed to have that steroid injection or steroid medication that they needed to give her. My husband took her then, and that was just panic mode for me. At that point, being a person that likes to be kind of in charge and in control and empowered, I felt so disempowered at that moment. And I said, I need to find something. Like, I need to know what to do, how to do it. And then I started dabbling with, so as we got the oils into our lives, I started looking into how to support my girls naturally with croup, because in the middle of the night, that's the last thing you want to do, is have to up your family and take them to the hospital, and to have, it's just stressful. So and you know what, it did take me some time to get my groove on with the oils in such a moment of distress. So what I started to do was, when they became unwell, it was a precautionary measure that I started taking. So before they got to the point of an inflamed respiratory system, I turned to Easy Air. Now, Easy Air has been my savior as a parent and our go-to oil in winter and when my kids are unwell, because it just seems to do the job. If I want to take it up a notch, I start to add in other oils, which marjoram is our favorite.
Marjoram, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So marjoram is amazing, and one thing I've actually dived deep into that oil as well, where it's an antispasmodic. You know, anything regarding coughing and anything regarding like spasm, any kind of spasm within the body.
Definitely croup when you just can't catch a breath.
Absolutely. So that's been so Easy Air mixed with eucalyptus and marjoram. Those are my 3 croup oils. And I can't be without them. If I travel anywhere, Easy Air is my first line. Then I add the eucalyptus, and then I go to marjoram.
And I love that you pointed that out. I've often found myself using my baseline. I say, this is the baseline, as in you say, this is my first line. And the baseline is that singular oil that you'll reach for, and you usually get a really great response. And that would be anything respiratory related. It would be Easy Air. And then you, as you said, but the next level is, and that's one of the things, and it gave me goosebumps, that's one of the things that some people see it as overwhelming, that there's all this choice, but I see it as super empowering, because not only can I use my baseline, but I can actually pimp that and strengthen that and power pack that to suit the stage or the phase that they're in. And at no point do we ever muck around with our child's safety and experiment with them and not take them for medical care. But as you said, how many nights would you have previously darted off because you had no other choice, but you were able to settle things? Like how many nights has that changed, and how has that changed your family's life, having eliminated that stress?
Absolutely. So, I mean, look, the fact that I can wake up and not, like, my heart's not in my mouth and my daughter's gasping, because it's a scary moment. My daughter's gasping for air. So I've got an older daughter that she's able to articulate that to me and say, Mum, look, I feel this. I feel restricted. And then I've got Mia, who's always had croup from the age of 2. She tends to, it just happens. She wakes up and she's got this horsey breath and she starts panicking. So the fact that she knows that Mum's here, this is work, this is what I've been doing, now she's not in that panic mode. She's like, Mum, I need oils. So that to me, like, I still get goosebumps till this day. But, you know, look, you need to really just trust that you've got something that can support you. And once you allow it to do that for you, you will be so overwhelmed with joy that that panic just goes, it dissipates. So, you know, I do make sure that we've got the diffuser on. I've got a humidifier as well. So there's all these little other things that I put in place. But the first thing we do is, okay, you've got the flu, you've got the cold, you've got sniffles, you've got a cough, whatever. The Easy Air is on them regardless throughout the night. And what I've noticed is that they are waking up with none of that anymore. So the fact that that is happening, and, you know, sometimes they wake up and I haven't realized that they're not well. They wake up that way. You know, I've had Mia do that, where she's gone to sleep and she's fine, but all of a sudden she's woken up at night and her airways are restricted. So I've got everything's already pre-diluted in the roller. Those 3 top oils I can't live without, because that is, for me, my breathing is probably my weakness. So if there's restricted airways in any kind of situation, the fact that I've got those, the fact that I can turn to those oils, I was just saying to my husband the other day, I don't know, for some reason he gets triggered when he hears the word empowered. And I'm like, well, you know, I am freaking empowered, because if I'm waking up in the middle of the night and you can still stay sleeping because I'm not panicking. And
that's empowered. I think it's been like a word. The word has been, and it's so broad, and I think it's a very superficial word. Like, not everyone can be that, but the reality is we're not talking about anything fancy. We're talking about the wheels not falling off at 11, 12, 1 a.m.
Absolutely.
That's empowered, because one of the things that I used to do is just dive straight into anxiety, and I'd wake Clint up, as you said, and I'd be screaming at him and I don't know what to do and whatever it is. And all of a sudden, it's not just that moment in distraught. It rolls into the next day and the next week because everyone's tired and everything.
Yep.
So that sense, that empowerment is peace of mind, and it is,
Yep.
and like you said, it's a precautionary. I think one of the things that I've found with a lot of mums who start to trust, and obviously everyone in this group has their essential oils, it's just a reminder to, it's okay to use them as that first stop and as that precautionary measure. It's not to say you're a failure if you do decide to go and seek that medical attention. There is no failure here. But what we try to do is say that every single time that you use these oils and you have that success, it does something to you as a mum, and it empowers you. There's no other real word for it. I was
actually thinking for another word. I'm like what am I like?
There isn't another word, and it makes you so sure that every other mum on the planet needs to trust that these things will help them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but they're not going to if they sit on your shelf and you never open the bottle. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And you know what? I'm glad we are able to talk about this in real life situations. Like, we can brag about the oils and we can say so much. And a lot of the times people, like, I like to share when my child is struggling, but that's not what I think about and bring out my phone and record it. So that's where I can say, you know, like, I'm simplifying my situation. You've got to trust that my home is quite busy. And for me to be able to turn to this in these moments of distress, you do have to take my word for it, because I can't show you in the midst of the crazy. I'm not going to pick up my phone and show you. So and then I'm able to express to them, this is how you do it. This is what you can do if you can't, if easy air isn't sufficing with what you're doing. And then they've tried it and they haven't looked back. So it
really has to be experienced to be believed. And I was one of those people that I needed an aha moment. So on that topic, what was there, you know, I know that you had heard and you were quite into wellness and things like that prior to oils arriving, but what was your one moment where you thought, wow, these oils are not going anywhere, they're part of our life? Do you remember that moment?
I do. I actually, so this is away from easy air, but it was my daughter Rihanna, my eldest daughter, has an autoinflammatory disorder which she was medicated before the oils for, and she gets flare-ups. So her flare-ups can last up to 6 days, where her body just starts to attack itself really with inflammation. And I hadn't used the oils on my kids yet topically. And I was just using them in the diffuser because I'm like, okay, I hadn't learned enough, you know. So I started detoxing my home to begin with, but then I said, you know, I'm going to turn to my oils now. Let me just see. I was still skeptical, like you always are in the beginning, you know, because that's just how we are in the beginning. And then I turned to frankincense, lavender, and ice blue, those, and peppermint, because she also gets a temperature when her inflammation is at a high. And I applied it onto her. And what I would usually turn to, which was Nurofen and Panadol, I didn't need it. And within 2 hours, my daughter was at herself again. And at that moment, I'm like, whoa, everyone needs to know about this stuff. This is just nuts, you know. And the fact that it was non-invasive and I didn't have to tell her and bribe her to please just take this Nurofen, please just do this, you know, I'll give you a lolly after it. At the time, you know, she was quite young. And you know, that to me, just again, for me, it's simple. When something sometimes doesn't even need to make sense, but if it's simplified and it's a natural option and an alternative, you know, sometimes you don't even need to know the science behind it, you know. And it's like,
well, for me, it was more, I just needed that thermometer to drop. Like, I didn't need to know all the scientific properties. I don't know the scientific properties of Panadol or Nurofen. I just know that the pretty little mum on the ad put it in a kid's mouth and the kid was quiet. That's all I knew. So really, we don't really know. And ironically, that's another whole topic. But I think one of the things that you've touched on and you articulate so well is how much this simplifies things if you let it. And it's needs to be experienced. And if you've got your oils and you're not using them, or you've been apprehensive because you have that fear, what if they don't work? You're never going to know unless you start to use them in your daily life, and reach out and look into areas of your life that you're experiencing pain and upheaval, and see if there's a remedy that we can pop in there for you. Yeah.
So it's definitely empowered.
Yes.
Got out of my home.
Telling we're sorry. We can't think of another word. We've tried. If anyone on the call can think of another word, pop it in the comments. So thank you, Miss Rana. That has been amazing to cover this with you. Easy Air comes in the 15 ml. It also comes Easy Air Touch, which is pre-diluted, ready to roll on. It comes as a vapor stick, which is basically just throw your Vicks vapor rub out and buy an Easy Air vapor stick. And the Easy Air drops, so like instead of all the lozenges and stuff. So use your doTERRA account for what it's for, replacing toxins, replacing all the crap you're buying elsewhere, and live well. That's the best advice.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Rana, and for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure we'll have you back on again soon to cover another one of our amazing ones.
Thanks, Rachel. Bye, guys.